Hi, I'm Loraine Rushton, and welcome to the Kids Yoga Teacher Success Series. And why you're going to be wanting to listen to this every series is because we're going to be bringing you a kids yoga teacher who's been successful, who's going to tell you what they've done, how they've done it, why they've done it, so that you can do it too. You're going to learn from their tools, their tips, and their guidance, and so that you can be successful as well. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I am welcoming today the fabulous Regina, who is coming in all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you, Regina, our fabulous kids yoga teacher, coming in to talk to us today. Hello. Tell us, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to. What do you do? What do you teach?
Yes, so my business name is called Namaste Yogis, and I'm based in the western suburbs of Melbourne, in Victoria. I specialize in teaching yoga to children from preschool age, so from 2 years old, all the way up to high school age. And I teach at early learning centers, local council kindergartens, and primary and secondary schools.
That's fantastic. So you're teaching the whole range.
Yeah.
I think when I met you, I think we were looking more at the early childhood centers. So now you're expanding, you're doing all the way through to teens.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it must be really, really, I know my joy is having a variety of ages to teach, because I love teaching the little ones. And then I love jumping into the depths with the teens. And I love a bit more lightheartedness with those, with the either little ones or the tweens. What's your favorite age?
Oh, I actually like it. I like them all, but I like different parts of it. So with the teenagers, what I like about them, because I teach at a language school, so it's for refugees, family, children. So what happens is they go to this school and they first come to Australia, and they introduce Australian culture, and they include a lot of extracurricular activities, and yoga is one of them. So they've never heard of yoga, or they think yoga is a religion, never done yoga before. So they get at least 2 yoga classes per term. And when they come in, because they're teenagers, oh, I don't want to do yoga. What's yoga? I'm just going to sit here. So a lot of resistance, but the ones that resist the most are the ones who end up snoring.
I hear you.
I love it.
I love that they come into the country, and one of the first introductions to Australia is they meet you.
Yeah.
And you are such a bundle of joy and love and fun. But you have this depth and this capacity to use that joy and that fun and that energy, but to take them on this beautiful journey inside to relaxation.
Yeah.
Well done, you. Oh, that must be so rewarding. And I love that teens are where it doesn't matter where you are in the world, teenagers are teenagers.
And they're like, when they come back the second time around, they're like, oh yeah, yoga, let's go to sleep. I can't wait to
Like every teenage class I ever teach, they walk in and say, can we sleep today? It's like the teenage sentence that you hear. So
Yeah.
how many classes at your kind of like your capacity where you're in a really busy week? About how many classes do you teach a week?
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, I was teaching about 5 ELC, or early learning centers, about 3 kindergartens, so that's 8, and two permanent schools, and then a bit of one incursion here and there for different schools, so about 10.
So 10 to 12 with the extra bits every single week. That's perfect. I always say between that 10, 15 classes is really your capacity as a children's yoga teacher. If you're traveling from place to place to place and people are not coming to you, or you're not just in one place for an entire day, the whole way through that one day.
Works really well as well, because with early learning centers, they want you to do the kids in the morning, and with schools, they want it after lunch. So
Yeah,
it works really well.
that's great. And so this is you now. So when you first, let's kind of backtrack back in the journey. When did you start? How many years ago did you start teaching children's yoga?
I started late 2018. I was actually working for someone else because I wanted to learn how to teach yoga in an early learning center. Because before that, I was working in corporate and I was doing community centers on the weekend, but that was a totally different ball game. So I wanted to learn how to teach in an early learning center. So I worked for somebody. And then
Yep.
at the end of 2019, sorry, 2018, I started sending emails and
Yep.
people up. I had a whole list calling up,
Yep.
emailing them, and then one person said, "Yeah, come around." So I went to his center, and then he wanted to first sell it to the parents, where the parents would pay for it, but no one turned up. And he said, "Why don't we do a little class, and I'll videotape you, and I'll show it to the parents." And so he started videotaping it, and then this is the center manager. He watched it and he loved it. And then he goes, "Why don't you come every week?" From then on. And the thing is as well, he's part of a big network of ELCs, and he told everyone else from his network. And since last year, that their little network has actually grown, and I've gotten to know all the center managers and some of the assistant center managers became center managers of the new centers. So stakeholder management, client management is really, really important. You need to talk to the educators, the center managers, not just the kids, because that's when you get your next clients, your next jobs.
Well done. Really good tip. And so well done, you. So proud of you. And I will say, one of the things that you want to make sure you are good at is teaching that class, because look at you. You learn how to teach a class, a successful class that wowed somebody, so that when they saw you teach it, they think, that's phenomenal. We want you. We want you to come in. We want you to stay. So what, even before that, let's go back one even piece, jump further back. What, you were in corporate, what made you want to become a children's yoga teacher?
So I had a difficult childhood, a lot of trauma. I didn't like myself, so low self-esteem, low self-worth, limiting self-beliefs. I didn't kind of get help until I was mid 30s. So I was suffering from all that, and I did yoga, meditation, and I did holistic counseling with my yoga teacher trainer as well. So when I did all that, that's when yoga did so wonderfully for me. I healed. I was able to reconnect with my true self. So before all this happened, I was like, I don't like kids. I was never the one who, like, you go to a party and go, "Oh, baby, give me the baby." I was never like that. I was like, oh. But then I didn't realize that I was actually the opposite. So
Mm.
working on myself, I was actually the opposite. I love kids. I love connecting with kids. I just love kids. And wherever I go now, kids they stare at me for no reason. I'm like, hi. I don't know. They just look at me. They stare at me. Anyway, back to my story. Yes. So I know when you grow up, it's all about, when you're a child, it's all about your environment as well. But I want kids to not go through what I went through. I want
Mhm.
to realize that they are loved, that they are love, and I want them to learn how to be kind and how to love themselves so that they can love others and the world as well.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, Regina, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that, because I know that, I'm sure there are so many people who are going to be listening and hearing this and resonating with that, and also went through a traumatic period of time or childhood and have found yoga later on and thought, oh my God, if I'd have had that at a younger age, or one person had have come in and told me I was okay, or held a space where you feel loved, safe and secure. And that's now your gift. That's what you're doing. That's what you're sharing with all those children who come in.
I mean,
That's beautiful.
even though I went through something traumatic like that, I don't regret it. I think I was supposed to go through that process so that I can be more passionate and more driven, so I can be where I am right now, so I can teach what I learned to others.
That's so big of you. That's so big of you. That's brave of you. That's courageous of you. And you are so 100% on your path, doing what you are meant to be doing on your purpose. It just shines. You can see it. Everybody, we can all see that as soon as you talk about teaching.
Yeah.
So you set off, you jumped in, you did such a good thing. You went to see other people teaching, you teamed up with people to see what it's all about. And then you found me and you came in and did the Zenergy trainings. How did the Zenergy trainings help you in this path and this purpose?
I do think that so before I came to Zenergy, I already had a 25-hour, 27-hour yoga, kids yoga teacher training with someone else. We won't mention. I think, but you know who. We won't mention names. Anyway, the Zenergy yoga teacher training courses actually, I think, elevated my classes, especially the advanced. So I think I was okay with the ELC classes with what I had, but I knew it could be better. But then when I went to schools, I found that what I had just wasn't enough. I needed a class management techniques that work. I was struggling. So when I did the advanced classes, the class management techniques, oh my God, that works so well. And I went to a school, I did a 1-day incursion, and I was like in there, it was a main opening. It was like in a library, an open space where I was doing the class. And teachers were walking back and forth, and the system principal, the principal, they're all walking back and forth and watching, and they were just so amused. And even the teacher that they had allocated for me, who was supposed to help with class management techniques, she was like, I didn't have to do anything. You had it under control. Yay.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
What a success story. Yeah. When you can go in, hold your own, command that class, you can, number one, you can teach them yoga. You can take them into that place. You're able to deliver the yoga. If you can't control them, can't manage them, you can't teach them the yoga, and you're not going to get them in there. But I love that you are wowing the teachers in there, going back and forwards and watching and saying, what is going on here? What techniques is she using? And that you give the teacher, the classroom teacher, a break, which is divine. And those are the classes as well that they keep you in. They say, okay, great. Well, can you come back? You come back.
Yeah. Until COVID hit. But
yeah. So COVID hit. COVID hit. So how did that impact your business? Because there you are, you're going into schools, you're going into early childhood centers, daycare centers, kindies. How did COVID impact the business? What happened?
I lost all my businesses. I lost all my bookings. I had to be active, and I had to keep in touch with the ELCs. And they were like, yeah, Regina, they wanted it, but they weren't allowed to. So the government restrictions, we weren't allowed to go into daycare centers, to schools, to anywhere. So what I did was a couple of the ELCs and a couple of the kindergartens did say, yep, let's continue with online. And I found that very challenging because you're not there to manage the class. So what I did was I made sure that I knew every single person's name at the start of the class. I say, so who do I have here? So then I could just call out the name and say, oh, Ivory, you paying attention? Or Ivory, raise your hand up, just to, so that, what? You called my name? And also I made sure that I knew the educator's name, because there is no way that you could actually run an ELC class online without the educator's help. So they were very involved.
That's brilliant, Regina. I was just speaking to one of my graduates who was talking about her online classes, and she said that she was teaching 9 classes back to back in early learning centers before COVID hit. When COVID hit, and everything turned on, everything switched to online. And I said, how did that go? And she said it was a mixed bag, because it would depend on if there was a really good assistant there in the classroom with the children, it went brilliantly. If they were involved and they were managing them, and if not, then it didn't work.
That's right.
So yeah, so we're hearing the same thing. So making sure, it's almost like adding those steps in to manage the assistant or the teacher in the classroom, as well as the children, and letting them know beforehand, this is what's going to be happening, this is what you're going to be doing, this is how to help me, this is to make sure the class runs well, these are your rules,
Yeah.
these are your consequences.
Yeah.
And I love that you had the list of the names, so you could just shout out a name.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many different faces to remember, so I didn't really know everybody's name. But just the fact that I had everyone's name, and if I see that no one's paying attention, I just call out all the names, and they all pay.
Brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. And I did online classes for primary schools as well. Primary school kids, sorry, not for the
Yeah.
schools,
Yeah.
because everyone was sick of online learning. So I did kids after school. It didn't go well for a lot. It was a mixed bag as well. There was a handful of kids who really loved online classes because there's no distraction. But there were some kids who just couldn't do it because they've had enough of online.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough year for people learning online. People are getting used to it, more and more used to it. It was, yeah, it's going to depend, isn't it, on the situation, the family situation, the home situation. For some, it will be this respite, this beautiful place where they can go every week with you. And for others, it's like, oh, I just can't bear looking at that screen anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just have
Gorgeous.
video games as well. That was
So sorry, I just interrupted you. You were telling us about your games.
Yeah, no, sorry, I just said that you just have to be more creative with your games.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, 100%. And so if you were looking back at the beginning of your journey, knowing that, okay, not factoring in a COVID experience, but factoring in that luckily we're coming out of this now and Melbourne's now open and you can go back into the centres again. But if you were helping or giving teachers some tips, or somebody who's thinking, should I become a children's yoga teacher? Should I not become a children's yoga teacher? What would you say?
The first thing I would say is to make sure you're clear about your purpose, your mission, your vision, mission, purpose, mission, sorry, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And use that as use that as your guide, and let that drive what you do. It's also good to be clear about your purpose because it can help you make decisions. So when you need to make a decision, just think, is this going to take me where I want to go to? That's the one thing that really helped me during COVID, was being clear about what I wanted. Because during COVID, I was teaching a lot of adults yoga and I wasn't really enjoying it as much. And I thought, hang on a minute, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I want to do kids yoga, not adults yoga. And so I got yoga and just taught kids.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but that quote on the bigger your why, the easier the how and the what and everything else. Once you've got that why as your foundation, your purpose, your reason, why are you doing this? Beautiful.
Makes everything
I love that.
much easier. I think it's also important to network. So very important to network with not just other yoga teachers, but other business owners. I found it so good that networking with your local council. So during COVID, councils helped a lot of small businesses. There were a lot of free training sessions, free mentoring sessions, that sort of things. And they have events that before COVID, they had events that you could participate in where you could display what you do. So they can see how you run kids yoga classes, they can see your personality and that sort of things. They have a lot of events that you could participate in, and just getting your name around so that the council workers know who you are. I think it's really good. And they've also got council directory of local businesses, things like that. Yeah, mentoring program like what I mentioned before, free mentoring sessions. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Love it. So let's wrap this up. Is there if for somebody to follow you, for somebody to watch what you're up to, what's your Facebook page name? What's your Instagram page name?
All right. So my Facebook is Namaste Yogis. My Instagram is Namaste Yogis _ kids.
Fabulous. Okay, wonderful. Gorgeous name. Love the name. Such a great name. And so, and last question. If you look back over the years of teaching all those kids, the tweens, the teens, and is there a highlight moment? Is there a standout moment you can share?
There's a number. So one time I was teaching this teenager. So she fell asleep. At the end of the class, she said, it was so peaceful. I was so much at peace. And I saw a white bird. And at the end of the class, me and the teacher were asking her more about it. And she said, my grandmother just died. And I felt so at peace with that bird because I think that's my grandmother who visited me while I was doing relaxation meditation.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, that's beautiful. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, the beautiful, fulfilling, heart-filling moments that
Yeah.
only happen when teaching yoga to kids or teens. How divine, Regina. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for shining your light. Thank you for for going through all that you went through and learning all that you've done and being through all that you've had to go through to come out the other end, to share your beautiful gifts and beyond this purpose to help those thousands of little lives and teenagers. Thank you, beautiful, and thank you for sharing that with us today.
No worries. Thank you, Loraine.